The teams have been announced, the preparations are underway and the kickoff is fast approaching to the greatest show on earth. But it's not the star-studded squads of Germany, France and Brazil we're on about. Nope, it's the guys whose voices will be filling living rooms across the country every single day for a month. This is the fiercely contested BBC vs ITV showdown in the World Cup of Punditry after the stations announced their lineups this week. Some familiar faces will be joined in studio by a cast of fresh additions including former footballing superstars and Mark Clattenburg. In the hot seats will be the presenters, Gary Lineker for Team Beeb and Mark Pugac for ITV. What about the teams at their disposal? Record Sport Online takes a closer look to rate and slate them all. Remember, it's all just a bit of fun. Team ITV Roy Keane, Image, Edit Football, Twitter. Keane is the big hitter box office draw of the ITV punditry setup. And it would take a brave man to suggest otherwise. But the former Manchester United and Ireland star speaks as he played, with brutal honesty. Passionate analysis, cutting remarks where needed laced with deadpan humor. He's good as Keane, so long as you're not on the end of an evisceration. Lee Dixon, Image, Getty Images, crossed the divide from the BBC. The former England fullback isn't the most charismatic pundit you'll find on the circuit. A bit like the successful but boring Arsenal team of his early days. Still, he's harmless, which is not always the prerequisite when it comes to punditry. Ian Wright, Image, PA, Dixon's old Gunners pal can't be accused of being boring, that's for sure. He's a bit like Marmite as the ex-England striker. Overly passionate about England, which can get right up the noses of us jocks. At least he gives his opinion in a wholehearted manner. His detractors, and he's got a few, insist he's a little overexcited. Like a small child. Gary Neville will swap Sky Sports for ITV, Image, Sky Sports, another, who splits opinion. Too smart for some, incisive and knowledgeable with his analysis for others. ITV stole a march on their rivals when they snapped up the ex-Man United and England star. He's full of opinions, alright. To many he's the best pundit around, the master of the microphone. But oh, that monotone voice. Slaven Bilic, Image, PA, former Croatia boss and West Ham legend, plays rhythm guitar, speaks 4 languages and has a law degree. He could also shackle the world's top strikers out of a game back in the day. There's nothing this big guy can't do, is there? He's certainly a dab hand at this punditry lark. He and Ian Wright cooked up some chemistry at Euro 2016, the Croats' debut. Who could forget leaping onto the table when his then Hammers player Dimitri Payet scored for France? Good laugh. Martin O'Neill, Image, BBC, former Celtic manager will have to make do with a punditry place at the finals after his Ireland side joined Scotland among the also-rans of qualifying. But he's a popular voice in the studio. Thoughtful, incisive and with plenty of tales to tell. If only he'd look up from the table when telling them. His best moment in the studio arrived when he was mocked by fellow ITV pundits Fabio Cannavaro and Patrick Vieira over honours. Let's hear from Martin O'Neill himself. I'm sitting with 2 World Cup winners here in Patrick and Fabio. But I have actually won things as well. I've won 2 European Cups. How have you won? Fair played, Martin. Fair played. Patrice Evra, Image, PA, an unknown quantity in terms of punditry, the former France and Manchester United defender will take his first steps into the studio this summer and he should be top drawer. If his Instagram videos are anything to go by. Henrik Larsson. Understandably there are millions of adoring fans who wouldn't hear a bad word said about the former Sweden striker and Celtic legend. And for what he achieved on the park, no wonder. What a player. As a pundit though, monotone, boring and not the most insightful either. Needs to brush up. Then again, he's new to this game. Eniola Uluko, Chelsea ladies striker, Image, Daily Mirror, sister of ex-Aberdeen and Rangers star Stone. The Chelsea ladies forward has more than 100 caps for England and always gives an interesting viewpoint when joining the pundits' chair. A welcome addition for the World Cup. Credit due also for the way she stood up to former England women's head coach Mark Sampson over racism and bullying. Fight the power. Ryan Giggs, Image, Reuters, New Wales boss has never appeared at a World Cup finals. Incredible to think, eh? He joins the list of greats including Eric Cantona, George Best, Darren Fletcher and, Jay McCavely to never feature at the greatest show on earth. But he'll be there with some esteemed ex-colleagues this summer. Interesting to listen to at times, although perhaps another who could be put in the sleeping pill bracket. Mark Clattenburg, Image, Reuters, this should be good. A referee in the studio. He's no stranger to controversy as Clattenburg, so it'll be interesting to see how he speaks in his punditry debut. Surely his insight into the big decisions will be a useful tool. Downsides. He absolutely loves himself. Well, as a whistler someone has to. Team BBC Frank Lampard, Image, PA Wire, top operator for club and country but still to be seen how his quick thinking on the park transfers to the studio. Lampard has plenty of big tournament experience with England and will no doubt have been brushing up on his skills in front of the camera with his better half Christine Bleakley. A big name with a polished appearance. That's about it though. Rio Ferdinand on BT Sport, Image, BT Sport. Ferdinand has developed into a popular pundit on BT Sport alongside Gary Lineker. The former England defender has been part of the BBC team at recent tournaments, to which will stand him in good stead. A steady voice in the studio. What he says comes with authority. And he's got a personality, which is helpful. Alan Shearer criticizes England, Image, BBC. England legend is a veteran at this game compared to most given his service to Match of the Day. Shearer is arguably the BBC's finest pundit, although some might argue that's not saying much, and who can forget his assessment of England's Euro 2016 humiliation to Iceland? Passionate and brutal, brilliant. It wasn't always that way, though. He started off as boring but gets better and better. Pablo Zabaleta, Image, Reuters, a double title winner with Manchester City, the Argentine should at least know what he's talking about. Let's hope so anyway. This will be Pablo's first World Cup punditry stint. Jurgen Klinsmann shows his class with thank you video to USA fans after he is sacked as head coach. Image, Jurgen Klinsmann, BBC have swooped, dived for the former Germany World Cup winner and USA boss ahead of Russia 2018. A champ during his playing days, Klinsmann should prove to be a decent recruit. Interesting to see how his Yankee drawl is coming along after his spell in the States. Shattering the stereotype that Germans lack humor, Klinsmann is witty and intelligent. Could be interesting. Didier Drogba, image, Getty Images, another big name who will tune in to listen to his insight. That is if he actually offers any. Still, the legendary Chelsea striker had more than a bit about him on the park. He was a giant as a player. Let's see if he can do the broadcasting bit. Mark Lawrenson, image, Getty, the godfather of football punditry. Only in terms of age, mind you. Lawrenson is a bit of a dinosaur in the studio, his sneering criticism of anything remotely modern on the park and his awful attempts at jokes, oh yes they are eye-wateringly cringy, make him a turn-off. Sorry Laura. And what about his Barnett? Somehow it seems to evolve into ever-amazing creations every week, something that can be quite distracting. Maybe that's his motivation. Dodgy Barnett causes you not to hear what he says but stare at his buns. Alex Scott, image, PA, the 140-capped England right-back will offer a different dynamic to the studio that was once the sole preserve of the male species. If she can shut up Lawrenson, she'll do for us. Danny Murphy, image, Getty Images, the former Liverpool midfielder could employ a few different octaves into his delivery but he makes undoubted sense. Never scared to give an opinion and good tactical news, Murphy is one of the Beeb's best performers. Sound, Martin Keown, image, West Bromwich Albion FC, not great TBQHWY. He comes across as a big know-it-all. Look at me, look what I've won and done. Okay, mate, you were a good player. A commanding centre-back who claimed 3 Premier Leagues and as many FA Cups. But you've hung up your boots and picked up the microphone now, so how about doing your current job better? Okay, Phil Neville, image, Getty Images Europe, like his brother he could do to add a bit of oomph to his voice, but the younger Neville is another who provides insight and knowledgeable analysis which makes him a good performer. Not as good as his bro, though. At punditry as well as football. 59 caps for England but famously never made it into a World Cup squad. That must hurt. He might as well be Scottish.